They've been in training camps. They've been beheading people. They've been raping people.
Very passionate conversation. Of course, Tommy Robinson, you know him well. He's been on our show many times. And our newest contributor from the UK was the host of that conversation. His name is Caolan Robertson, and he joins us now via Skype. Caolan, great to see you, and congratulations and thank you for your very strong debut videos with The Rebel. It's great to have you aboard.
It's great. Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the scene there. That video, by the way, that you did with Tommy has gone viral in the first 12 or so hours, about 500,000 views, a lot in the UK, a lot in the United States, around the world. You were there so quickly. People were still in shock that the identity of the terrorist was not yet known, but you knew in your bones that it was going to be a Muslim extremist. Of course you did. We all did.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, what really happened was I live in central London, only about a mile away from where this took place. And Tommy and I were filming a video about, slightly ironically, Islamic extremism for The Rebel when we got the notification from BBC that someone had been shot, a mile away. So we just quickly grabbed all our stuff and went down to the scene and started just basically speculating, listening to what the mainstream media were talking about. Not that that's going to be useful for anybody, and just basically trying to figure out what had happened. And when we started talking about the idea that it could have been someone who was Asian, the mainstream media and all their associates started to gather around us and started to look pretty hostile. A lot of them would start giggling and sniggering, and it was insane.
Yeah, well, that's the video is powerful in two ways. First of all, you and Tommy were just letting it rip, very raw, immediate reactions to being at the scene of a terrorist attack. The outrage of the terrorist attack was one thing, but the cavalier, smirking, snickering style of the rest of the media was an even more infuriating, I don't know about more infuriating, it was another infuriating part of the video, that they were cackling and disparaging you for how dare you imply that it would be Muslim, and how do you know that, as if it would be an Amish or it just is so absurd. Even there, blood still running down the streets, they could not accept that Muslim terrorism was in the heart of London so many years after, the 7/7 attacks. Tell me how it's been, the reaction to the video. And I don't want to make this a meta conversation, but I think that's important. We can't trust the mainstream media to give us the straight goods. You gave us the straight goods yesterday. How has the rest of the media reacted to you and Tommy being there with your own camera?
Well, as to be expected, there were two reactions. I think the video pretty much split our public into two. We had the patriots and the true people in this country, the true working people and the people who actually care about what's going on here, completely reasonably outraged by the terrorist attack and by the reaction that we got from everyone who was responding to us, shouting, this is, what about far-right extremism? What about this? This has nothing to do with Islam. And they were rightfully outraged by it. They've been sharing the video. They've been editing it in their own way and posting it all over the place. I've just seen a version of it on Facebook with 1 million views. So that's that side. And the second side of it is also to be accepted, the liberal elite, nothing to do with Islam, virtue signaling losers who have just been reiterating the same thing that Tommy and I were using this event to try and push our own far-right political advantage. It really was astounding. They were more upset about what Tommy and I had said and speculated on that day than they were, seemingly, about the terror attack that actually took place in this capital. And that, I think, is probably one of the most shocking things. I can't even comprehend it.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two kinds of anger directed at you, and I saw a little bit of it by watching the rest of the mainstream media interact with you. And folks, we played the full clip on last night's show. If you want to see it again, it's on our YouTube page. Caolan, one part is, I think that a lot of journalists don't know the facts. Tommy was rattling off facts, like 50,000 downloads of Al-Qaeda's how-to guide to sort of lone wolf terrorism. 50,000 downloads last year in the UK. That was news to me. 3,000 jihadists being tracked 24 hours a day by British police and security. Tommy has his facts. So I think on the one hand, the media are shamed by the fact that a citizen journalist like Tommy, and you're a bit of a greenhorn compared to some of these old hands, that you two guys have more facts and more arguments at your command than those old hands do. And the second is you're breaking the collusion, because if everyone in the mainstream media colludes together to say, oh, how do you know it's Muslim, or he's probably just deranged, or he's probably like they go with the various excuses and they muddy the waters. That only works if everybody is in on the collusion together. If someone breaks the compact and says, well, I'm going to tell you what really happened, I'm going to pull off one plank in the picket fence and show you what's through there, then it all tumbles down. That's why your video has gone viral, because you're the only guys telling the truth. You make the rest of the mainstream media look like dopes. What do you think of my theory I just put?
I think it's completely true, but they're still in denial about it. The video has gone viral, but I think if you look at the like to dislike ratio and the type of people who are sharing it, it's still only going viral for people, like I mentioned earlier, people on the right and people who are just working class and people who are patriots. The people who are talking about it on the other side are ignoring what Tommy is saying about the facts. They call it hate facts, don't they, now, where it's irrelevant, science and facts are irrelevant, and they focus solely on the fact that he's just a racist, and they just carry on that narrative. So it's true what you're saying, but the reaction from the liberal elites isn't humility or isn't, oh goodness, we're right, we need to maybe look at this. It's still trying to tarnish him with the same racist, boring narrative that they've been doing for years.
Last question, Caolan. Every time there's a calamitous event, a calamitous terrorist attack, some people on the right say, finally, the world will be woken up. But I'm coming to doubt that. I mean, we managed to hit the snooze button every time there's an alarm. I mean, if we hit the snooze button after 9/11, surely we'll hit the snooze button on everything. And you had your 7/7 subway bombings. This was in the heart of Westminster. I mean, the next step would actually being in the precincts of Parliament itself. But already the mayor of London City and your Prime Minister, Theresa May, they're trying to say, everything's normal, everything's fine, don't react. I mean, am I misunderstanding their reaction? And let me ask you, is the British public saying, all right, hit the snooze button, we're fine? Or are people saying this is enough is enough?
That's interesting you mentioned that. Tommy and I were talking about this exact thing earlier on this morning because, well, I don't know if you know, Jack Buckby was with us on that day, and he left my apartment a few hours after this happened, and he said that when he was walking around London and when he was walking around the train stations after the attack, the reactions from the public were just defeatism. Everyone was just silent, and they were all just kind of walking around with their heads down and almost sort of looking like they're chanting, I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. And it's the same reaction we got from Sadiq Khan, from the mayor, from our politicians, is they're just obsessed with damage control, nothing to do with Islam, keep our heads down, change our profile pictures to some flag, do some hashtag, and then the next day, wake up like nothing has happened. Oh, well, obviously we're forgetting the further backlash, which is that Muslims become the victims because of a supposed rise in hate crimes. But basically, the general sense of the public in London that I saw, and Jack and Tommy, was defeatism. And nobody was being patriotic. No one wanted to come together. People just sort of almost as if laid back and let this happen to their city.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is people don't know that they're like-minded people. And that's why the work you and Tommy are doing is so important, because hundreds of thousands of Brits, let alone people in other countries, can say, hey, I'm not the only one. Look at Tommy and Caolan speak the truth. And look, 1 million people watch this video on Facebook, 1 million people on YouTube. Obviously, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I believe that the journalism you and Tommy are doing, and I hope you continue to keep up your excellent pace and your excellent quality, I think it will actually be a rallying point where Brits can get the other side of the story, especially in video. There are other great journalists in London. It's a great journalism city, that's for sure. But I believe that we, and by we I mean you and Tommy, as our rebel contributors there, are bringing video, because a lot of the other great journalism is done by newspapers. And to bring on-the-spot viral videos, grassroots videos, I really think you're filling a huge void for your entire country. Last word to you, Caolan.
Yeah, I mean, once again, thanks for having me on the show, Ezra. And we're going to continue to go out in this city and report on the things that the mainstream media refuse to even acknowledge, and bring the truth to the British public and also to the American and the Canadian public to show them what just might be coming.
Excellent. Well, stay safe, my friend, and keep up the great work.
Thanks, Ezra.
All right, there you have it. Caolan Robertson, the newest contributor to The Rebel. He's based in London, along with our friend Tommy Robinson. Stay with us for more ahead on The Rebel.